Hello, Mr. Ed here. Today is Thursday, December 5th, 2019. I'm in Pineville, Louisiana. I'm at the convention center here, and it's welcome to the Louisiana Beekeepers Association. That's right, I'm up here in Pineville for our convention up here. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be a lot of fun. Things I'm looking forward to is our little swarm challenge results and hanging out with the rooster and Shawi and a bunch of other great folks. So by the grace of God, it's going to be a great couple of days, and I'm bringing you along for showing you what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and wrangle inside.
All right, these gentlemen are going to introduce themselves, and then they will tell you why they're important enough to be at this not round table. Okay?
My name is Randy McCaffrey. I unfortunately got stuck with the name Dirt Rooster, and the only reason I'm up here is to carry Mr. Ed's golf club. I've been doing beekeeping for 10 years. I've been doing cutouts in that whole time. I've done over 600 cutouts personally. My father and my brother both have done cutouts over the years. They don't do near as many as I do, so those two together, all of us together, you're looking at 1,000 cutouts, and probably about half that in the swarm captures, because we do that just for fun most of the time. Me and Mr. Ed have an ongoing competition every year. By the way, this year I'd like to present him with an award for, it says, Go You Bee Catcher You, and it's coming from Wes Fetters. You're welcome.
Well,
so every year we have a swarm catch competition, and every year, of course, I'm working a full-time job. I don't make excuses, but he's been beating me. This year we tied up at 41 each, and me and Wes talked about this trophy, and Wes went and had his trophy made, and then he says, "I got you a trophy," and I said, "Show him what you get."
so like Randy said, he and I've been doing this swarm challenge catch for 3 years now, and the first 2 years I won it, and the person that wins the swarm challenge contest, the other person has to buy him Taco Bell dinner. Well, Randy, you know how I'm cheap. Well, Randy's cheaper than me, and so he reneged on it. For 2 years, he reneged on it. So a couple months ago, I went and did a cutout with him, and he said, "Well, look, I'll buy you a nice Mexican dinner lunch, and then we'd be even." So he did pay me off that on that bet. But it was weird that this year, because Randy works, so I always had an advantage to catching swarms. And I don't remember how many I caught the first year, but last year I know I caught 54 and he caught 30 something. I whipped him up pretty good last year. So this year he wasn't working. He was still working, but not as much, and he spent a little bit more time on it. And I had to work really hard just to catch my 41 too. But when he told me that the last few days of the challenge, it was like he was calling me up, I got one today, or I got 2 of them today. And every time he'd call me up, I'd be nervous. Oh man, I'm never gonna get another one. and then I'd call him up and say, man, I got 3 of them today. Oh no. So it was like for 2 weeks, we were like back and forth, him ahead, me ahead. And it wound up that we both caught the same amount, 41. So I want to present Mr. Dirt Rooster the exact same trophy that he brought me. But mine says 2019 Swarm Challenge, 628 Dirt Rooster, Master Bee Wrangler. Right here. So Randy.
Y'all lucky I wasn't in it, because I had 57. So I'm going to be with y'all next year. I'm Shawi. I've been a beekeeper for 20 years. And I started out, and I had a hive in my deer stand, and the first cutout I did 20 years ago with a chainsaw. Didn't have a clue, but I got the bees. They lived 17 years in my backyard, and I lost them on the 17th year. So, but Like I said, I've been doing a lot of removals. I don't know how many, well over 600, 800, 1,000, probably 20,000 stings. Pretty much keep track of that. And I got my name, shall we, by, when I was in high school, I did a lot of trapping. And that's how I made my money. I wasn't lazy when I was a kid. Everything I did, I worked for. And I did a lot of trapping, and I did a lot of coon hunting. And that's how I got the name Shawi. That's in Cajun French, that's what it means. Raccoon. So, but they borrowed it from the Choctaw Indians. So, you know, I had somebody say, well, I looked it up. In French, that's not a raccoon. I'm like, you looked it up wrong. In Cajun French, it is. So.
Somebody asked how I got the name Dirt Rooster. Originally, my YouTube channel had nothing to do with beekeeping. If you don't know, I got a YouTube channel where I do cutouts and I teach some, and we just cut up and clown a lot and just make it a fun thing, because if people are not having fun, they won't stick with it. I got people that come all the time that want to buy new, and they're going to save the bees. I'm going to help save the bees. I can't bear the thought of losing bees and my children, and they just going deep and deep. And I'm like, if you don't like it and it ain't fun, you ain't going to stick with it. And 2 years down the road, I see them and I go, how your bees doing? Oh, you know, I quit, my bees died, and I sold the stuff on Facebook. Okay, so I just make it a fun thing, and that's my biggest thing, is just having a good time with it. But in the beginning, when I started my YouTube channel, it was totally for an insurance thing. I've been an insurance claims adjuster for 28 years, and I was setting up a channel to show people how to work through the claims process. In the process of trying to figure out YouTube, it was going to be a dirt biking channel. So I was just going to get in shape, start riding dirt bikes again. I didn't do either, but I was doing beekeeping. And I put some of that up, and people started finding the videos, and they're going, oh my gosh, this is great, put up more. And I'm like, I don't even know how you find the videos, because I'm not going to be doing this, but whatever. So I put up some more, and I just kept on going with it, so it turned into a thing. And I enjoy teaching, and most of it's not really me teaching, I'm just talking, and as I think through a process, I'm talking about it on video, so you kind of see where my mind's going when I'm doing a cutout, or when I'm doing splits, or whatever it is. And people enjoy it, so I just keep on doing it. But Dirt Rooster was my dirt bike. 628, it was a XR 600 with 628 big bore kit, and the bike's name was the Rooster. So that was the name of the YouTube channel.
So when I first started to do cutouts, I didn't know how to do cutouts, and I went to YouTube. YouTube's got everything, and I started watching this guy, JP the Bee Man. And that's where I saw this guy. It was on JP, and I started watching JP and learning how JP did it. And so once I started watching JP, then I said, well, what if they got anybody else that makes bee videos? And I found that guy right there on YouTube. And so then I started watching the Dirt Roosters videos. And in truth, that's how I learned how to do cutouts, was watching these guys do cutouts, because they had already done a couple hundred of them. By that time, it might have been close to 1,000. And so I'm just a youngster on the block. I've probably only done about 300 or 400 of them. I'm not anywhere like these guys right here. But these guys are my heroes, you know.
When I got with JP, we worked together, and we were a hit, and we call ourselves the bickering beekeepers. I can push his buttons, and he can push mine. By the way, he would have been here, but he had other obligations. He couldn't make it. But like I told him, we will try to take his slack. But you know, like, he can push my button, and I can push his button. And if you look at the videos when we're doing it, you know, they're like, man, these guys are gonna kill each other. You know, they hate each other while they work together. But it's just real good friends having a good time. I enjoy every cutout I do. I have some that, you know, while I'm doing this, you know, this great weather we have down south, you know, 100 degrees, 98% humidity, getting stoned, you know, full of honey. But you have a lot of good days, and it's fun. Each one is a challenge, and each one's different. Even though they're in the same spot or different houses or whatever, they're all the same. You know, the removals are there, but each one is a different, you know, you get to see the bees doing something a little different than the other one, you know.
I share a little bit with you about how I got into doing cutouts, or beekeeping in general. My brother got into beekeeping about a year ahead of me, and I was 40 years old before I got into beekeeping. And I didn't know he had bees. I just knew he was doing something with bees. I didn't know what it was. But him and a friend of his had gone in partners and bought a couple of hives and had done a cutout at this point. He had done a cutout and turned 20,000 bees into soup, basically, with an improperly set up bee bag. Second cutout he ever got a call on was in a 180-something-year-old building, 2.5 stories up. And I have a strong background in construction. And he calls me, he says, "I need you to come help me take some bees out of the building." I said, "You come get my tools, whatever you need. I don't know anything about bees. I don't want to know anything about bees." He says, "No, I need your brain. I need to figure out how to get to these bees." And I said, "Okay." And he just kept on talking me into it. Me and my dad both went up there and hung out with him while he got into these bees, and we figured out how to get to them. We just couldn't reach them without a lift from the outside of the building, and the guy didn't want to pay the expense, so just like, well, you know, we're at a sticking point. This is what it is. And we could reach them, we could almost touch them, but we couldn't get them out. And I just thought, well, that was pretty interesting. And I know there's a hive in this old house on a hunting camp that we were a member of. And I called our president, or maybe he contacted me, I can't remember which, but I said, "I want those bees in that old house." And he said, "Sure, come get them." So I went up there with about 10 minutes of guidance from my brother, and we get into this old house, this incredible old house, just laid out in a weird way, got the old farm sink in it, and I was like, man, this is a nice house. I hate somebody tearing it down, but they were gonna tear it down. I said, I'll get the bees out. So we ended up having to cut in around this brick chimney that was angled up the side of the house, and I cut these boards out. I don't know what I'm doing. My brother's got his kids with him. One of them gets stung in the head, and he's got to go. And I'm like, oh man, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere with just junk equipment. I got this $20 bee suit on it. I don't know, somebody must have made it in a knitting class because it didn't hold nothing out. And I'm up on this ladder, I'm sweating, my suit's stuck to me, bees are just nailing me. And I'm just reaching in, just digging comb out. I'm up to my shoulder, down in the side behind this fireplace digging comb out, and I just got wore out. And I probably finished up at about 11 o'clock at night. It's pitch black, I got everything loaded up in a trailer. I get it back to Gulfport. I had 2 big boxes of bees and comb and everything, and I was so proud of myself. I get back home, I think I rolled up in the driveway about midnight or something, and I dropped the ramp door on that trailer, and I said, oh my God, the walls were just coated with bees. And I said, I don't even know what to do now. So this is the point where I figured out bees, especially mad bees, don't like brushes, because I was brushing and I'm just getting whooped on. But I got all my bees in my boxes, and I get back in, I probably got inside, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning. I'm getting cleaned up, get undressed, and I don't know if it was that night or next morning, she's counting stings, and it was, 30 or 40, 50, I don't know. I was just eat up all over the place. And at that time, my body wasn't resistant to the venom yet, so I was kind of puffy. And, yeah, I know. It'll go down eventually. And she says, oh my God, honey. I said, I know. She said, what are you going to do? I said, I think I'm going to do it again. She said, are you crazy? I might be, but I liked it.
I have a story, and it's not about a cutout, it's about a swarm. And my wife would get mad at me because around my swimming pool, I got an in-ground swimming pool, I have beehives around it. Because when I'm in the swimming pool, I'll just lay on my little float and watch the bees. Well, I had a swarm in a nuke box on the back porch, and we were sitting out there, and all day long they'll fly out and go to my fruit trees about 150 feet away, and they'll land and stay there for about 20 minutes, and then they'll come on back. Well, I have the queen caged up, so I knew they were coming back. So they did it about 8 times that day. So my wife came out, she said, what you doing with that box? I said, well, you know, I want to keep them here for a few weeks and then I'm going to move them to the bee yard. So we sitting there and she's fussing me because she didn't want the box there. But the bees started swarming out the box and they fly to the fruit trees in the back. She said, well, what you going to do? I said, well, I'm not going to do nothing. I said, I'm tired of putting them in the box. They don't want to stay in the box, they can leave. So we just sat there and I just kept watching that big ball of bees in that tree. And then when it started getting smaller, I knew they were in the air coming back. So I got up out my rocker, hollered at them to get back in this box and sat back down, and lo and behold, they all moved right back in the box. And my wife looked at me and I'm like, bee whisper, baby. Still today, she doesn't know I had the queen caged up in that box, you know. That was one of the best I pulled on her, but she still doesn't know that I had the queen caged, and I knew she was coming, you know, the bees were coming back. You know, I just told her, the bee whisperer, you just...
One of the distinguishing characteristics of Shawi and Randy is when they wrangle bees, they're all natural, man. They don't wear a bee suit. I wear a bee suit. I don't care if it's a hive this big or I'm gonna put on my bee suit. Now, I will take it off after I initially go in there and things calm down, but these guys do not wear a bee suit. They're into that pain stuff, not me. But I did have an experience this year with one of our swarms at the Abbey. And generally, when a cluster, a swarm hanging on a tree, it's like these things are really gentle. You can go in there and start pulling them down by hand and put them in your bucket. And I've done it. So this one time, the swarm, it was a nice swarm, probably about 4 pounds of bees, and they were hanging in the tree about 6 feet. It was too high for me to grab, so I had to put them in the bucket. Well, there was a lot of bushes growing around it, and my bucket is on an extension pole, and it's not a real clear shot up there, and they were hanging on a pretty big limb. It wasn't something I could shake easy. So, but I'm gonna get these bees, and we had, since I'm at the Abbey, and we had the guys in the shop said, man, y'all gotta come watch this. This is gonna be a great shake. We're gonna get these bees in one shake, we're gonna put them in the box. And it's a swarm. I'm not going to put my suit on for a swarm. That's easy. So, so I got all these guys. There's about 4 guys watching me, and they're not beekeepers. They're woodworkers. But they, for whatever reason, they trusted me. And they're standing there watching me underneath this swarm of bees with my bee bucket. And I said, you guys ready? Oh yeah, let's do it. So I jugged the bucket up there. And there was a lot of growth there, and it wasn't a really good, clean push-up. And consequently, the bees, they just showered all over me. Well, it was about 40 degrees, and the bees don't like breaking cluster at about 40 degrees. And they started eating me up. Well, all these guys are out there, and they see me starting jumping around. They started cutting down the field. But now I've got to get these bees that I have in the bucket, I got to get them into that swarm box that I put in there. So I'm trying to get these bees to get into this bucket. I'm trying to dump it, and they are just nailing me. And I still got to do this. I got to put them in there. And so by the time I grab the top of it, now I'm just covered with bees. They're nailing me. And everybody else is about 200 feet away. They're down the field. Say, man, that's not a really good idea to do that. But I did get all the bees in the box. The queen was in that. Fortunately, I don't know how, she was in there. And I did manage to catch the bees. Just a couple of these things, that's all.
I have one that JP and I, we got a call from 911. And so we get to the place, and it was a swarm of bees in a tree. And the lady come out there, and JP had on video, you know, we had bee problems, and I called 911, and they called JP and Shawi to come get these bees. So we looked at them, and they're about 20 foot up in the tree. So JP said, look, Shawi, we're going to get a rope, and we're going to gonna throw it over the branch, and we're gonna shake them on the ground, and we're gonna go right off on the ground. We're gonna grab the queen, put it in the box, and the bees, you know, it's history. Then the rest of the bees gonna follow. So we commenced to doing that. Now, half the block was out there watching us, but when that swarm hit the ground and we moved in, they forgot to tell us that they squirted the hose on them, went down the block, threw rocks at them, chased them twice back up the street. So they were ready for us, and they lit us up. And JP said, "What we gonna do, shall we?" I said, "JP, suck it up, dude. You know, we can't run." But then they told us after the fact that, you know, well, the kids were throwing rocks at them, and they moved from there. They squirted them with the hose pipe, and they moved back over here and stuff. So, you know, they were very upset when we shook them on the ground. Usually they don't act like that, but these did. So, that was
I got a habit of jumping into stupid stuff without researching. So anytime anybody calls me about anything unusual, I'm like, I think I can handle that. And I've never fooled with bumblebees before, but this past year, somebody called me about some honeybees in a birdhouse on their back porch, and I said, "Well, how big is this birdhouse?" He said, "Well, it's about maybe the size of a tea pitcher or something." I said, "Well, that's not honeybees, that's probably wasp or yellow jackets or something." But I was just finishing up a cutout. He was on my route back home. He said, "My mom's in her 70s. It's on her back porch where she sits, and she can't sit out there anymore." I said, "Well, I'll come look." I come look, it's bumblebees. I've never fooled with bumblebees before. I was like, "Hey, I want some bumblebees at my house." So I said, I got some pet screen in the truck, and it was kind of a stiff window screen. I thought, I'll just wrap this up around this thing and just bunch it up at the top like a pillowcase or something and carry them back to the truck. And so I went out there to look, just to see, when I was out there looking just to see what it was, I got nailed in the arm or the chest or somewhere around, and I was like, wow, these things, I thought bumblebees were soft and fluffy and kind and generous, and they were generous with them stingers. But so I put my jacket on, but I didn't put no gloves on. I got this net, they can't get through the net, so as long as I can get to the box and wrap it up, I'm good. So here comes this dude and his mama, who kind of feeble, comes around the house to watch me, and they're going to stand back a little ways, and he said, "I recorded for you." I said, "Would you?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "All right." Now, I'm always dragging somebody into something, into my stupidity. And so I wrapped this thing up around that hive, and as soon as I jiggled it a little bit, they started pouring out, and I couldn't get that screen bunched up enough, and they're just coming out the top. And I'm talking about they lit my hands up. But I'm like, I'm this far into it, I can't let go of them because they're going to kill that old lady over there. So I carried this bundle of hell to the back fence and set it on the ground, just walked away, trying to pick these bees off of my suit, because they weren't getting through the suit, but they were just ripping my hands to pieces. And I was watching the video back, and I was like, I am so glad I got that on video, because you can see the guy running, you can see his flip-flop. And you can hear him and his mom on around the side of the house hollering at each other about shutting the gate. That's going to keep them out. You shut that gate. So I kept those bees. They stayed at my house all season, and going into winter, I understand queen bumblebees will go out and do something to move somewhere else. But, so now I got an empty birdhouse. But I got my bees for the year.
So Randy and I, we're both kind of competitive, and we talk a lot on the phone during the week, and we talk about ways of doing things different on our channel. And early on, when I started making videos, and I was talking with him, and he would always have his dad with him on his cutouts, and Randy, he's doing the cutout, and his dad, Pat. His dad is finding the queen all the time. Poor Randy, you're never finding the queen. His Pat, well, you queened right here, son. And so his dad kept on showing him how to catch queen, how to find queens. So I told Randy, I said, you know, that's not fair. That's not fair that you bring your dad on your cutouts, because I don't hit. I said, I'm gonna one up you. I'm gonna bring my mom. Now, my mom is 94 years old. Now, she's not gonna be much help on doing any of the wrangling business, but she's certainly good at sitting down. So she sits in the car while I go do all the work. So she and I she had taken a ride out. I shucked some swarms, and then I was checking traps as well. And so I like to put Mom in the videos, because I mean, who doesn't like to see a 94-year-old lady? I mean, right? I mean, it's just perfect. So if you watch any of my videos, I always use the line, "Let's wrangle." That's what I always say. So I wanted my mom to say, "Mom, let's say what I would say. I'll ask you a question." You say, "Mom, what do you say?" And I said, and you say, "Let's wrangle." And she goes, "Oh, I can do that." And and I remember it was Easter, and we were getting ready to go check the traps, and I said a little something or other, and I said, and I'm standing right next to my mom. She's sitting in the car, and I said, "Well, Mom, you got anything to say?" And she goes, "Yes, I do." I said, "Well, what is it?" She says, "Let's wrestle." I said, "What? No, it's not wrestle, wrangle." Oh, wrangle. Okay. Wow. That about wraps it up for this convention. What a great time, man. I had talked to so many people. So many people came up to me I've never met before, saying they watched the channel. It was just a great time at the convention. So that's all I got for you. I hope y'all enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Keep on watching. I'll be making more. God bless. Mr. Red, I'm out here until the next video.
So good. She'd like to take a picture with the three best looking guys in the building, right?
Okay, we'll be right there.
Line up, guys. Line up. Everybody line up. All the good looking guys. Just a couple of things before we start the ending. Oh, you got one more thing?
One more thing.
So please.
Yes, ma'am.
Last night, this old man here couldn't hold his eyes open long enough, so when he left, we stole his auction card. His club donated something to the auction, and he bought it back. He didn't even know about it, but he got to buy it back. So if you want to donate that to anybody else, I don't know.
Look, so this is from Terry Chapman of Guardian Bee Apparel, and he had asked me if I would bring that to the convention to donate, and so I guess I bought it.
So actually, I think Larry paid for it.
Thank you, Larry.
But we used his number and made it look like he was going to have to pay for it.